Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the group show. As you already know, on this show, we talk to great musicians making impact in the music world. And today we sit with Uncle DELA Jackson. Yeah, he's a very, very great musician, and he's currently based in Accra, Ghana. And as usual, I'm not gonna say much about him because we're gonna get to know more about him in the course of the conversation. Uncle DELA, welcome to the show. How have you been?
I'm good.
And how is music life? How is it going in Ghana?
Ghana is cool, just as it's happening around the world. COVID is beating every entertainment sector in the world. So basically, that's what is happening in Ghana here too.
Yeah. And practically this period has become very, very difficult for every entertainer, right? And I think we are all trying to adjust to it. And I believe the same is happening in Ghana, just you have said. The same thing here in Brazil. It's quite difficult for musicians or entertainers to get around doing some gigs. But I think we hope that things resolve itself pretty soon, and next year we go back to our normal lives. But
Exactly.
first, yeah. But first of all, somebody would ask, who is DELA Jackson? For those that have never heard of DELA Jackson, I follow you a lot. I've been looking at your works and on on Instagram and all of your Facebook accounts as well. I try to follow and get to know what is happening with you. But for
Mhm.
those that do not know you, how would you describe yourself to them?
Mhm. So that's a deep question too. Okay, Dela Jackson is a musician. That's how I call myself. Those days when I called myself a trumpet player, but now I don't just play trumpet. I do more than trumpet. So now when anybody asks me who is Dela Jackson, so Dela Jackson is a musician.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
that's basically, though now I do on stage, I like to play my saxophone and my guitar
Yeah.
and sing once in a while.
Oh,
And
amazing.
I am very passionate about the development of the youth and children as well.
Wow.
That to say I am very passionate about teaching. I love
Yeah.
teaching.
Well,
Yes.
that's good. I mean, for a musician to be passionate about teaching is a good thing because then you are able to impact the knowledge that you have on the younger
Yes.
generation, which is
Yeah.
very, very important. Yeah. But for how long have you been playing musical instruments?
Hmm. It's a very, very long time. I think I started playing trumpet from the age of, I can say that could be around 13, 14 years in
Oh,
my church. I happened to be born into a church.
okay.
It's have their worship style is similar to the EP church.
Okay.
That is called ARS Church, Apostles Revelation Society.
Oh, amazing.
My big brothers, they started playing the church brass band. So we as kids too growing, you are drawn to towards what your big brothers are doing, if it's exciting and
Yeah.
it touches your emotion, there is
Yeah.
nothing you can do that to get drawn to what they're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been playing trumpet since then. And then when I got to around 18 years,
Yeah.
I said I tried to get deeper
Yeah.
into what they call professional music, but to if I can put it raw, say professionally, music playing professionally, um, it's over 30 years.
Wow, that's a long
Over
time.
30 years. Yes, over 30 years.
A long time. I mean,
Yeah.
people have argued that you would need to be talented to be able to play very well. But then sometimes I am of the notion that, and that is my opinion, that the environment in which you find yourself in can sometimes also influence you into doing certain things or going into certain hobbies. So, for instance, you said because your brothers, your siblings started playing, right? They were playing, so then it influenced you a little bit. Would
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say would you say that it is possible for somebody to not be so talented but be able to pick up the instrument and then learn to be better than somebody who is talented?
Uh, that's a good one there. When you talk about being talented,
Yeah.
being talented in what? That is
So
another question.
okay,
So
so
we have two things.
yes, sir.
I wouldn't put it as somebody who is talented.
Okay,
I love to talk about passion.
okay,
Yes. If
yeah,
you are passionate about something,
yeah,
you do whatever it takes. Even
yeah,
if you are not talented,
yeah,
you will become talented by force because you are passionate about it.
yeah.
I put myself as an example. When I was growing from school, since my childhood, my dream is to become a very good auto mechanic.
Oh yeah,
Yes, so after middle school, I
yeah.
was sent to the technical school, and I went to the school for 2 terms. The third term, they give me my chop money, my school fees, and I chop the school fees. I didn't I didn't pay to go to the school. So I was there one day, then my mom and my uncle they came to pick me or they say, follow us. They took me to a fitting shop.
Whoa.
So they signed an apprenticeship agreement for
Yeah,
me. So I study auto mechanic,
yeah,
honestly. But in spite of all that,
yeah,
I became more passionate about music
yeah,
because I was in a church where I
yeah,
learned brass band. So whilst learning how to become an auto mechanic, I had a
yeah,
chance to be part of the brass band to learning. But I found out that I'm more passionate when it comes to music
yeah,
than being an auto mechanic.
yeah,
What I was, what was my childhood dream?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's all about passion.
yeah,
If you are passionate about an instrument, you
yeah,
always want to practice.
yeah. That's true.
You know what I mean? If you're passionate about that instrument, you always want to hear type of songs that are being played with
Yeah,
that instrument. And
true.
you hear somebody playing it better than you. If you're passionate, you always be hungry to learn what ideas made that person very special on that particular instrument.
Yeah, yeah.
You see
That's
that thing? So if you ask me, I would say no, passion,
yeah.
not talent.
Okay. I
Yeah,
I
you can be talented in something but not being passionate.
yeah, that's true. That's totally true. I totally agree with you on this. Yeah, I think it's the most important thing, right? Because if you're not passionate about that thing, then you wouldn't focus on it.
At all. Mm,
That's true. That's true. Well, let's come back to you. You started with the trumpet, right?
that's
And
it.
and then you moved to which instrument after? And how many do you play in general?
I try my hand on almost about 6 different instruments.
Oh.
Mm,
So which of them was the easiest to learn for you?
none.
None? Why?
Yes.
What was the difficulty that you faced?
I said I don't I don't like people to say, oh, If in the band, you can hear this saying, somebody can say, you know, we only conquer you play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody to say, you know, the only maracas you play. But to tell you, none of those instruments are easy
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
If you come to serious playing,
Yeah.
not joke playing, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? To just
Yeah.
make a sound on an instrument, it's easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
are taught the technique to produce a sound on a particular instrument,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If they know how to produce sound on a trumpet, it's different from how you produce sound on a saxophone.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? If you come to the bamboo flute, you have to produce a sound. It's different from how to produce a sound on a transverse flute.
Yeah.
They are all flute families, but
Yeah.
how to produce a sound on them a total different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
You see, so it's not, no instrument is easy. That has this how I put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To play it skillfully,
Yeah.
that is your playing can touch people's emotion. It
Yeah.
can touch people's heart. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You can play for people to be happy. You can play for people to be angry. You can play for people to cry.
Yeah.
They say the same. So it's no instrument. None of the instruments is easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would have to agree with you on that. Yeah. Because each instrument is unique in its own way, and learning it is quite difficult as well. Even if it might
Exactly.
be very easy on the eye,
Yeah.
because somebody would say, you just play conga, right? But then the techniques in playing conga is not.
Yes.
Totally agree with you on that. I quite remember I tried my hands on the congas as well when I was in
Mhm.
Reverend John Tay Memorial. I
All
tried,
right.
yeah, but then I didn't really play good as some people, because it wasn't easy as you would see it. You feel that, okay,
Yes. Yes.
but then it's not easy. Yeah, yeah. And when apart from your brothers that inspired you to learn the trumpet, were you inspired by external people as well, like people who were already in the music scene, like professionally? Were you inspired by any of such people? And who were these people if you were?
No, a lot of people. Because when I was growing as a kid, I was growing. I go, when you are growing as a teenager, when you get to a certain point, you like experimenting.
Yeah.
You know, you mingle with people and things. You know, those days, though, they have things like discos,
Yeah.
like late 70s,
Yeah.
then the early 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when those days, because of the way I like music,
Yeah.
but I didn't know I'll become a professional music, but I like instrumental music. I like classical music,
Yeah.
and when you're those days, what we call Radio Ghana, but then they have only two radio stations. One is we have Radio One and Radio Two,
Okay.
and then one television station, that is
Yeah.
GBC TV.
Okay.
So Sundays around, I think 8:30, mid morning going to late morning, they do play classical music on radio, and
Oh,
those so we have what they call Kofi Adega. It's a
okay.
radio provided by the government, and it is in most marketplaces, bus
Okay.
stops,
Yeah.
and some rich men have some in their houses. So
Oh,
because of that, sometimes I run away from church quick and I go to my friend's father's house
okay.
because they will play. And yes, and then when I started, I veered from brass band into real music, professional
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
A lot of people inspire me because I like the sound of jazz inspires
Yeah.
me so much. So I
Okay.
tend to listen to a lot of people. Though
Yeah.
I was inspired initially in my teens by my big brothers, when
Yeah.
I grew up and attempted veered into real music
Yeah.
playing, a lot of people inspired me.
Well,
When I was growing up, but then I allowed to hear the sound of Manu Dibango, sound makes good sound to me.
Yeah.
Who fella, Hugh Masekela,
Yeah.
and this one, if you have Alpet, he plays trumpet.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
has a great album with Masekela too before,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so there are a lot of girl dance. And when I try to get deeper into music, I like the sound of Miles Davis
Yeah.
on his trumpet, because the way he's soft
Yeah.
playing, and he takes times to improvise
Yeah.
on the heavy chord progressions.
Yeah.
You know,
Would you say you're more aligned to the jazz genre than other genres of music?
I like any genre once it involves melody.
Okay.
You have rhythm. Music
Yeah.
is music, and
Yeah.
so I love, because I started from the brass band, from place, and uh, entered into a dance band,
Yeah.
and along the side entered into jazz groups. And I found out, oh, every genre is interesting.
Yeah.
So I can adapt to any genre comfortably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I don't, But when you want to be a hot studio session man, all of it, you can't say, Charlie, if this is the only genre I can be comfortable with, you have to be all over the place,
yeah.
And it's interesting that too has it has uh, how would I put it? What word would I want to use? Help me now. It inspires
Okay.
the kind of stuff you like to create on your own, your original
Originality.
tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have dealt with different types of genres, so it's based on your own creative works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so that's the interesting part of it.
yeah. Okay.
So I now I can't call myself a jazz musician or a reggae musician. Or no, I call myself a musician. I love
Yeah.
world music. Mm.
Okay. Great. But then, if somebody would have to ask you to define what jazz is to you, but first of all, even before we come to jazz, let's look at our local genre, which is the high life, right? And I don't know if yes, you're a musician, so definitely you have played a couple of high life tunes. How would you describe to somebody who doesn't know this genre of music, right? And listening to you for the first time as a musician from such a beautiful country with such beautiful genre, how would you describe it to them, the high life music?
That's an interesting question. How if this question is a very controversial question, because when you come to the real definition of high life,
Yeah.
what is high life? What is the high life? Life that is high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
foreign word. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you ask somebody who say Osibisa,
Yeah.
Osibisa, our seniors, the Matuntos and what they will tell you, say that is what they call high life.
Okay.
Osibi.
Yeah.
Osibi is the reading. And the high life, some people try to define it as anything with that click. Co,
Yeah.
co, co,
Yeah.
co, 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 co is high life.
That is what I grew
Some
up understanding as high life. Yeah.
uh-huh. And some people will say with the other code, and some people try to modernize it, the other one. Co, 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 co,
Okay.
co, co,
There's that
co,
one too.
co, co, co. You go what I mean? This also says a high life. You go what I mean? But when you say real high life, we have the Ghanaian style of playing that we call the Yapon size guitar style of playing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Some people too will define it as when any song with the click and that style of guitar playing is called high life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then there comes a point that you can see the morning everybody say they call something called what hip life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that one too, the argument is still going on What is the definition of what hip life? You know
You
what
see,
I mean?
it's a fusion of the high life and then the
The hip hop.
with hip hop. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is
Exactly.
another controversy they're talking about high life. And some people to define high life that anything sung in tree is high life. You know what I mean? And it's all over the place. But if you ask me as a person, how do I define high life? I'll define the high life with the click.
Okay.
Co, co, co,
Yeah.
co, co, or co, 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 co,
Yeah.
because that's the drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you go to Zouk or Sukus, that
Yeah.
click word. Cut,
Yeah.
cut, 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 cut,
Yeah.
cut, cut. You know what I mean? If you go to Zouk Love, you hear it. If you go Makosa, you see it inside. If you get what I mean. If you come to Sukus, you will feel it inside. You see the
Yeah.
point? So me, high life, that is why I'll define it with the click. Anything with that click, that trick, quote, 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 quote,
Yeah.
quote, quote is high life to me. And it become more authentic with our style of guitar play. The Yaponsan, the Sichi, the Odonso, the Dangomba, you know, they with a whole of them. It becomes what we call the real high life, you know. Then we have some of the click, then you have the progressive chord high life.
Yeah.
You know, the ones you were born in Ghana, you know about the different types of high life. You got the old time, the big band high life. Well, if you hear real chord progressions, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? You don't hear only do fa so or when the Yaponsan is mainly do fa so. You know what I mean? But you have songs like from the big bands, the Ramblers, where they go into, you know what I mean, real chords, the Broadway band, the Black Beast, King Bruce, that the Yiti mentions. You know what I mean? The Papayansi, the CK Mans, the Ebutelas. You know, they tell you they are playing high life, but their chord progressions are more progressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all those things are so high life is broad, but anything with that click is a high life. Co, 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 with emphasis.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, and I am really, really enlightened by all that you have said today because I didn't really understand it like that in terms of what you said. All I knew was that okay, high life is any rhythm is exactly like you said with a cut. So that was exactly what I knew was high life. But then there are
Okay.
other components that constitute high life, right? Like when you talked about Osibisa, I, for instance, thought Osibisa did some kind of an Afro pop or Afro jazz thing, but then you've made it clear to me today that they were a bit of a high life thing. But growing up, I didn't understand their music as a high life type of music
Mhm.
because of the rhythm in which they used as well, you know. Yeah. But I'm really grateful for this knowledge you have impacted on me today. I like it. And moving on, we've talked about the local one, which is High Life, but you have played jazz for quite a longer period now, right? Or a longer time. So if you have to describe in your own words what jazz is, how would you describe it as well?
That's another also great question. When you come to things, what we call jazz, jazz from listening and playing with the great guys and questions, and you come to realize this, what is jazz? It's the same melody we're playing and the same chord progression. Once it more with jazz, the chords are more expanded.
Yeah.
You know, because you can see the jazz versions of simple songs that you know that are played with simple primary chords, and you can hear the same song played in the jazz version with most chords altered, where the harmony is more open, advanced. So if you ask me jazz about jazz, that is how I see it. You know, we can't Then when we come to the different types of jazz. Formerly, when we were younger, we thought anything that is played with swing is what we call jazz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why when you start to have love for jazz coming, you see young guys playing rock and roll, things they are playing jazz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see the point? You see, and
Yeah.
some people do think anything instrumental is
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but jazz goes way more than that.
Yeah.
That's the jazz. In jazz, because this is the chords are more open. They expand the chord. We have see more chord alterations. The chords are altered, and then the
Yeah.
language is different. In jazz, a lot of things are permitted, but when you come to classical, and there's this something. A lot of things are not permitted.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, that's how I call jazz. And jazz is I love jazz because it gives you a way to experiment
Yeah.
every time on stage. Which where you don't get that freedom in other genres.
Yeah.
You that turn the audience off
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
person dancing off in other genres. But jazz is permitted. Is permitted to it's experiment. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's
basically, if you ask me that, and now to the jazz is broad. You
mm,
you know we have smooth jazz, we have
yeah.
acid jazz, even now we have Makosa jazz.
Yeah. I didn't know about that.
You have the real authentic jazz. Then we have the swing. Then we have the New Orleans jazz. This we call the Dizzyland sound.
Yeah.
So it is really really broad. You are closer to jazz, Brazil. So
Yeah. 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 They play quite a lot, but they have their own music style over here. The sambas and
yes.
which is quite. I remember when I switched from trumpet to the bass. I was having a conversation with a friend, and he was like, "You're in a land where they need horns and horns players, and to bass."
Uh-huh.
But let's come to you again. Back to you. What are some of the projects that you have worked on over the years?
Mm, Over the years growing up, uh, few. Well,
Yeah,
that's a few, but some main that I remember. I remember my first experience in the studio
yeah.
to record on trumpet was this group's their album, Joyful Way Singers.
Okay.
That's the way incorporated. This year album,
Enjoy. Okay.
When Joey, I did a trumpet, and Eric Antonio did a brass sound on the keyboard with me doing live trumpet.
Oh,
That's one thing I remember. Then also the first international album I remember where I played with on that was when I was with the Marriott. I was part of the main guy that formed the Marriott as a big band. Earlier on they had Marriott combo.
yeah.
Yeah, those days when I don't know whether you are grown enough to know about Art Benny. Art
I,
Benny is a classical guitarist of the
I don't.
GBC band, and I also came to meet him as my band manager when we were
Okay.
playing Mario. So we the young those days we came together to form the Marriott as a big band. That was in the year I think it was 84, 85,
Yeah.
86. But I'm not very good at dates though, you
Oh,
know. And I have the chance to play it on Miata Family's album. Miata Family is a Liberian.
oh,
And that album was technically produced by Ebotela. That
oh,
was the first time I saw how a technical producer works. You know
yeah.
what I mean? They work on paper. That's when when you learn how to write music.
Yeah.
Written music, to write score on the stuff. It's
Yeah.
interesting, and I found, oh, okay. So and then I had a chance to play on this album, this free is this Free Boy album, Kojo Esa and Consecration.
Okay.
Yeah, their album, their hit album. The horns. I did the horns on that album. Me and George Misa. I
Oh
was on
yeah.
trumpet, and George Misa was on saxophone.
Well, you've done great works. I mean, some of these works I've heard some, but then I didn't really know these whole.
Yeah, and I worked with Rocky Dawini too from
Oh
his first, second, third, fourth album. I was on trumpet and flute.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just surprised. Like, I knew, yes, you've done some great works with some people, but these names that you're mentioning, and then the works that they have done, I just didn't.
Okay.
It was you. Like, I'm really taken by this, or I'm really excited. Now I'm so excited to be talking to you and having this conversation with you, because
Yeah. Glory to God, man.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. Oh, that's great. That's great. But then, at least as a musician, I believe there will be some obstacles that you faced, right? So let's look at, I mean, from Ghana in general, what are some of the obstacles you face as a musician?
The problem, the obstacle in Ghana is the absence of a real industry,
Yeah,
music industry. You are in Brazil. You can sense that there's a real music industry in Brazil because the industry also brings foreign exchange to the country.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, things are in order. The state always take proper
yeah,
interest in what goes on, but that is non-existent in Ghana here.
yeah,
As far as we talk about
yeah,
system. So those are the challenges, and because there's no proper system, you are being in the system. You know how difficult it is to acquire your personal instrument
yeah, true, true.
through playing.
Yeah,
It's difficult, you know, unless maybe you are fortunate to work in some church, good church, or you have to think outside the box,
yeah, to get something.
and that's why I always tell my young musicians that you need to think outside the box.
Yeah,
Other than that, that's why you can't be a mono instrumentalist.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You need to do something extra if you really want to stay on top of the water.
yeah,
So but I mean, I've worked in the church for so many years.
yeah.
And after 21 years, I left last year.
Okay.
I hope I'm allowed to sip water on your show.
Oh yeah, no problem. You can do that. Is it? Mhm.
I realized my throat was dry.
Oh yeah, I've got you talking a lot, so it's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
water. Yeah,
I'm in my studio,
yeah.
so
Good. Okay.
I have a small setup that I do my small recordings.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Very good.
So
As a-
the system, we need to work on the system. So and also the absence of the younger ones coming, and how do we, the people who say we are the pace setters, make their future better for them, not to come hustle like we are hustling.
yeah,
What are we going to put in place? Are we also going to leave the scene without trying to make the attempt of what? Putting in place a vibrant industry
yeah,
that will protect the younger ones too. You
yeah,
get what I mean? And I always say that the biggest owners of musical instruments
yeah,
are the churches in Ghana now.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's sometimes funny. The church is telling the young musicians, hey, leave the world, leave the world. Come to the church. You're doing secular, secular. Okay. But when they come to majority of the churches can guarantee
Yeah.
the welfare of the musician.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And this issue, and always I think, where is the best way to, how is the best way, what is the best way to solve it that you don't hurt one side, make one side happy,
Yeah.
but you make us both side happy by
Yeah.
both understanding, both the church and what? The musician. I mean, I don't say instrumentalist.
Yeah.
You
I
get
mean,
what
I
I
would
mean?
that question, because in Ghana generally they brand musicians as instrumentalists, and I
Mhm.
just like that sound of it because actually you read musicians, they know the music into details, right?
That's
But
it.
then they would term somebody who sings alone as a musician and then brand the person who knows the core of the music just an instrumentalist. And I cut it and I'm like, okay, well, that is I mean how it has been for a while, but I think it needs to be changed. Just like you're saying, you can't be calling them instrumentalists because they're not just instrumentalists, they are the
Real
musicians.
musicians. So we that. So always when I see, no, I have worked in the church setup for 21 years, from 1999 to 2020.
Wow,
You
I
know,
wasn't by then. 99. Yeah.
uh-huh. In one of the biggest churches in Ghana, ICGC, the
Yeah.
head office at the feet of Otabel. You
Yeah.
get what I mean? And yeah, I'm grateful to the church because my whole life, I mean, that was the best place that I've ever worked
Yeah.
at, but the COVID came in to disrupt things.
Yeah.
But that is also another conversation altogether,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But let's come to the real issue. What is the way forward? How do we make other churches don't take the musicians for granted? And how do we make the musician to see that church music too is a serious job?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to bash one side and leave one side.
Yeah.
Some musicians think, wait, this one is church. Oh, make we play something, make we go. Are, are you sure? Say this one is church, let's make we play something again, make we go. No.
Yeah.
Music is music. Either it's done properly or you don't do it at all.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? You can't be playing class one chord.
Yeah.
Your instrument don't know how to tune itself. You're going off timing and
Yeah.
expected to be paid
Yeah. A professional fee.
a firm fee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you also want to attract good money in the church, cook yourself. You know what I mean? And be able to have a strong bargaining power to be able to prove yourself. Say, Charlie, me, I'm a champion player. I'm not just coming to make some sound and go. I'm a serious. You get what I mean? And let your performance to what talk for itself. You get what I mean? Then the church too, the pastor should know that, be the pastor alone know how to drive nice car, but
Yeah.
the musician also know how to drive nice car.
Yeah.
Because the musician come for it. They think only the pastors do the big work. The musician's work is not as easy as people think. A real
Yeah.
musician's work, unless your church tolerate that boom 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 boom, then it close. All right, then you can listen. But if you want real quality music played
Yeah.
in your church, then you should be ready to what
To
pay
sacrifice.
for that good service.
True. True. I totally agree with you on that. And I I think for this issue is quite a difficult one, especially when it comes to the way musicians are treated in 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 some churches, for instance, because then they see them as just, oh, I mean, let's just give them anything, because they are supposed to be here.
Mhm.
And I think that it's high time the church tries to differentiate between the musician and then the church member. right?
Of course.
Because even if the person is a musician, he's actually still going to play in the church. But then once
Mm-hmm.
they take stage, there should be a differentiation of who they are on stage and who they are when they are off stage. Then
Okay. Mm-hmm.
that way, I think that sets the level and know that okay, once he climbs the stage, he's no longer my church member. He's a musician, a professional musician who needs to be paid adequately for the services that he's providing for the church. Right.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. I mean,
Of course.
yeah. But I mean, even over with the church and then their payments, with regards to the general system in Ghana, there's no kind of royalty system for even musicians who play on records, right? So
Hmm?
for in some countries like the United States or even in the UK, once a musician plays on a record, they're able to earn royalties from that sound that they have produced on that
Of
record.
course. Yes.
We don't have this in our country, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. What do you think is the way forward with this? Because a whole lot of musicians have played, like you, for instance. Let's say, um, based on the work that you have done, I mean, you should be copying like $1 million a month from your royalties.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, like you should be copying.
Listen.
But there's no system like that to help musicians in that way. So how do we do it? How do we resolve such a problem?
It's just by that we the patient is. I always argue with my senior people. How do we try to revive ourselves and bring the system into its well track properly? You know what I mean? When I was young, I know that GBC, even to present music on radio, the DJs, the presenters go to pick the music from the library and they have login sheets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here now, the DJ they go to the studio with the music in their pen drive in their pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The radio station, the TV station, even you don't have prior knowledge of what song
Yes.
the presenter is coming to play on air, let alone have a
A
what?
record.
A record of what all that was aired that day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so it's a big, big, big issue. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you go to all studios, they don't have worksheets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this album they did what? Oh, bass player was this man. This one, a guitar player is this man. Trumpet player is this man. Okay, what was the initial agreement? You know what I mean? I think there's going to be paid one off, or they are going to what have some share in points on the album.
Yeah.
Because a guitarist hook line can make the song a hit,
Yeah.
not necessarily the singer's voice.
Yeah. True.
So all those things we need to come together. I mean, I always say we can't be fragmented and
Yeah.
expect to go forward.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? So on my small way, I'm with the union,
Yeah.
musician union, you know. I wasn't an integral man seriously inside, but I went in during a boss time and I realized no, there's a loophole.
Yeah.
They had what? I went, they have Hallel department, reggae department, gospel department, traditional department, and all that. But there was no jazz department. All right.
Yeah.
I went to argue to say it took me almost about 2 years to lobby or the war for them for which we inaugurated the jazz department, and we did. You see that the way to our many objectives is to be able to what equip the young ones
Yeah.
properly with music theory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then with that, we can all get ourselves together. Then if we get all of us, our mind tamed together, then we can talk seriously about the business aspect of the music. That the young ones should know that you know just playing for playing sake and take your small coins, but there should be something for you because there is no social security for a musician.
Yeah. True.
Your social security comes in form of royalties,
Yeah.
and you can't get royalties when you don't record.
Yeah. It's true.
You know what I mean? So it's a whole education that we have to take on. Some of us maybe will die around the line before the things will start to work. Maybe you people can carry on by the younger, but we should start a journey. You see the points to make the younger ones to feel that music. Me, that's always the pastors always have problem with them.
Yeah.
You own the majority of the instrument. Pastors have their children who are learning, but they don't ask themselves the wages they gave to the musicians. They ask themselves whether when they make old and their children want to be instrumentalists in the church, that wages can even reach their children and let them use some to buy cocoa for them when they are old.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? They don't understand, but we have to stand as young people and other growing people to do proper. For me, I believe in action. I don't believe in, you get what I mean, small. Okay, if you want the church to make the musicians well, we the musicians, where we are a bit well off, what are we doing for the younger ones? For them to see that, oh no, we can come together and build and take them go. So now what we do, we give free tuition as jazz department every 1 month, once in every 1 month, free. Just come to musician union with your instrument, come and learn free. Don't pay anything. Just come and learn and then go home.
It's a good initiative.
Oh yes. I mean, we are growing. What are we doing? Because if we are complaining that there are no good players in the system, and those who we think that we are good, in quotes, and we are not ready to help the younger ones to teach them to be good, what are you going to get a good ones to play with?
Yeah.
So some of my policies. So I have my own NGO. I use music as a reformative tool in the prisons.
Yeah.
You know, I teach music free in the prisons. I sponsor myself.
Wow. That's good. That's super good.
We need to help the young ones and try to create a more conducive atmosphere for the younger ones.
Yeah.
If you guys out there now, you know how to, music is well remunerated outside there, and you know how people's creative works are well remunerated, and you know about the good publishing houses that can be introduced to the young and the creative ones down here, and you can link them up. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And make them also know that, oh, if we all break through and we make the money, we can come and make life better for the younger ones here. You know what I mean? I don't believe in owning the wealth and enjoying all myself. I hate it.
Yeah.
If you have the wealth, let it show in how you help the less fortunate ones.
True. That's true. That's very, very true. I mean, to be able to disperse your wealth and then make sure that everybody has a cut of it is the most
Of course, that is how it is. Because when you die, you won't take anything away. The only thing you leave behind is your goodwill. How many people's life have you been able to touch positively?
Yeah.
How many people have you been to put smile on their faces when they look sad? You know.
That's true. Well, Uncle Dela, now let's talk. This is the last about one question, my penultimate question to you. In terms of playing, you have played a lot, right? Which one would you say is the memorable or the most memorable one for you? Like, which gig did you play and you were like, oh, wow, this is something that I'm never going to forget for the rest of my life?
There are plenty.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about some.
Which one? Okay, the one I can say it was in the Afro Rock reggae festival. That was in Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay.
I remember that my jazz group, we were called Fabeja.
Okay.
We were based in by then the Baseline Jazz Club.
Okay.
Now they call it Plus 233.
Oh yeah.
So because majority of the guy we in the group, me and the trumpet player, and for me and the sax player by then, because I was doing trumpet with Rocky. We went together with Rocky Downey to Cote d'Ivoire, and on that bill was Rita Marley, Still Pause, Majek Fashek, Ijaman, Kimani Mali. Kimani Mali is Bob Marley's son, but he is not the son of Rita Marley from a different lady.
Okay.
I think that is it's on a big sound. Yeah,
Wow.
yes. That one called. Then I remember too. The first time I Fabrondi came to Ghana,
Yeah.
but I was playing this band Osagifo. So uh,
Wow.
we played. We backed Ambule at the stadium. We
Okay.
opened the show before Alpha Blondie. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that one too.
That's good.
Then then we played with the same group Fabija. We played his when Osi Bisa did their last homecoming concert at the
Yeah.
National Theatre. So my group we opened the show,
Wow.
the Fabija band. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Some memorable, few memorable that I can remember. That there can be a lot,
Yeah.
Charlie.
That's good. But if you have to give any advice to the upcoming, I think even in our conversation, you've given quite a lot, right?
Mm.
But then if you have to give a specific advice to these young, passionate musicians that are coming up, what would you tell them?
What I'll tell them is the understanding is very, very important, and humility. Take arrogance out of your life. And if you say, this is the instrument I want to play, fall in love with the instrument and practice. Practice is what does the magic. Then practicing the right thing. All of them should aspire to know more about rudiments of music. Take music theory, very important. And then you go somewhere and you become stuck.
Yeah.
They bring the job, you are broke. They say read and play the thing and take the money. You too, you can't
Yeah.
read, the money is staring at your face. So it's important. We are all still learning. And also I advise what I see in the francophones doesn't I don't see it much in Ghana now here, be that groups staying together
Yeah.
and being creative together. Because music you can't play alone on the stage.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? The understanding and if they're able to take the greed out of
Yeah.
the headmen, if that money confusion all the time. Like, I mean, I always say I'm not going to worry myself about small few thousands.
Yeah.
So I've never taken banshee leadership.
Yeah.
No, I won't. Because if you're selling money like 10,000s and 5,000s, 10,000 is hard to share here. You
Yeah.
see, if you are sharing, like man go to play about 5 people, and you're sharing like 2,000. And
Yeah.
a band leader, you say you want to tell band leader share. Oh, my friend, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You understand? It will
Yeah.
make that love grow. I say, look, let's share these small ones equally, but let's fight, forge ahead. So now when the money comes big, it's like we are sharing 5 people, we are sharing about maybe 1.2 million CDs. You get what I mean? If I cheat you like 50,000, it's no
Yeah.
big deal. You understand it? The money is huge. That when you share finish, you can enter a car shop brand new and sign a check and buy a car. Or you can enter a free estate developer's office and just buy a house. You know what I mean? That is how we should come together to work. But if we can't come together and we are fighting about small monies, no. It will not help. You see the thing. So we should learn the first important thing, humility. Take arrogance of your life. Take the greed out of life. Fall in love with your instrument. Be positive minded. Finish.
Wow.
The rest will be history.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good advice for me as well. Yeah, as a young musician growing up. Yeah. But Dr. Della, if anybody wants to contact you for any gig of any sort, possibly to record or maybe get you on an album or for a show, how do they contact you?
They contact me through my phone number, or they can contact me through on Facebook.
Okay.
With Facebook, I'm known as on Facebook. My main account is known as Jackson DELA Kwaokume. Then on Instagram, I'm known as what? DELA Jackson.
Okay.
GH.
That's good. Okay. So this is the group show. Obviously, we would have to hear you play. Okay, guys. So we've come to the end of today's conversation with Uncle DELA Jackson. I want to thank him very much for making time and then taking the effort or making the effort to be here with us for this conversation. It's not easy getting great men like him on the show, but once they make themselves available, we're so appreciative of it, and we want to say thank you very much. So the next thing that we would be seeing would be a video of Uncle DELA Jackson playing, and well, once you listen to him, yeah, like I always say, you would be appreciative of why you stayed till this point of the conversation. All right. So thank you very much, Uncle DELA, for coming.
Thank you
And
too. Thank you too.